Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live video. So big breaking news now is coming out in regards to Bissaka. This is actually stemming from the BBC, which is a very reliable source. It's coming from David Ornstein, and he's basically said now that Manchester United have reached an agreement with Crystal Palace to sign Bissaka. I think we have agreed around a £50 million deal for Bissaka, with Crystal Palace, and I think we are paying 45 million up front, with 5 million in add-ons, which does potentially rise it to around £50 million pounds. But potentially, I'm really delighted about this. I think he's set to have his undergo his Manchester United medical either this later on today or tomorrow, and all that. So it hasn't been made official as yet. But potentially, we have reportedly offered him a long-term contract. I think the contract is around a 5-year deal that we have currently offered him, and I think it's worth around £80,000 a week. So Bissaka is going to get a huge pay rise on his salary. He's going to get around a £70,000 pay rise because he's only on £10,000 a week at Crystal Palace. Obviously, is their lowest played player in their first team squad and all that. But like I said, I'm very excited about this. And obviously, we have been negotiating a fee, with Crystal Palace at least for the last 3 weeks. But obviously, we've held more extensive talks with Crystal Palace over the course of the weekend and that, and obviously yesterday, and now there has been a breakthrough in negotiations. Obviously, we previously had 2 bids turned down for Bissaka. Obviously, the last bid we had turned down was £50 million, but we'd offered 35 million up front with 15 million in add-ons and all that. But obviously, Crystal Palace had turned this down because they didn't like the structure of the offer. And obviously, the first bid we had turned down for him was 40 million pounds. So basically, Crystal Palace blatantly made it clear, they wanted around 45 million up front or 50 million pounds up front. I think also this makes him our 5th most expensive signing as well, as that has currently confirmed, but it hasn't been fully made official as yet. But Bissaka did tell Crystal Palace that he does want to join Manchester United this summer. Obviously, reports came out last week. It was actual nonsense. It was stemming from Duncan Castles. He said actually Manchester United had allegedly agreed a world record fee of around £55 million with Crystal Palace for Bissaka. So now has been it's not made official, but we do know it's going to be our second signing this summer and all that. Obviously, we've already got Daniel James on the board for £18 million. Obviously, we've got Bissaka for £50 million, so that's going to take Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's net spend to around £68 million so far this summer. But I like Bissaka a lot. As you all know, he's predominantly a right back, like I said, and I think his defensive capabilities are very good. Obviously, he's proven in the Premier League. Obviously, only made his senior debut before Crystal Palace in February of last year, and obviously last season established himself as a first team regular. He has still got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. Obviously, when he was a lot younger, he was an out-and-out winner, because obviously so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. He was an out-and-out winner, when he was younger. Obviously, I think he joined Crystal Palace's youth academy, at the age of 11, and obviously he was an out-and-out winner. But as he was developing and all that, he got reverted as a fullback, due to his tenacity. But like I said, I think he'll be a fantastic, replacement for Antonio Valencia, because obviously we know that Antonio Valencia is leaving the club after he served a decade with Manchester United. He'll be a fantastic upgrade to Ashley Young, and obviously we won't be getting exploited, nowhere near as much as we did last season, with Ashley Young being our first choice right back. Now obviously with Bissaka coming in, so that's another good thing. And also I think he'll be a fantastic cover up for Diego Dalot. So yeah, I'm very delighted about this, and he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him, and I do believe he can be our fullback for the next decade, Bissaka. And obviously now him coming to Manchester United is going to rejuvenate his career, and of course take his footballing career to the next level. And he's only 21 years of age, so obviously he's going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend a number of young players, to come in that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars and all that. And I think this summer, we are moving away from the policy, of signing them well established players. But obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's planning, to build an ambitious squad, and he's obviously wanting to get he wants to get the right players into Manchester United. Obviously, who he thinks are going to elevate, Manchester United forward and all that, and get us back, to being a competitive elite level football club, because it's very essential. We need to see, vast improvements going on into this season, because last season was disappointing. We finished 6th. We didn't win any silverware, but we haven't won any silverware anywhere in the last couple of seasons. But like I said, Bissaka is going to be our second signing. Obviously, like I said, it's going to take our net spend to around 70. I think around around 68 million pounds. It's going to take our net spend up to. So obviously, a lot of reports were reflecting out last week saying that Manchester United have only been given £100 million to spend. It did provide a reason why it said we've only been given £100 million to spend, because obviously we're not not in a Champions League football for next season. And if this is believed to be true, and when we do get the deal over the line for Bissaka, we're only going to have around 32 million pounds to spend on a central defender, couple of new additions in that midfield, a winger and a striker, and obviously we're not going to be able to do that, with 32 million pounds. So maybe now when we do get the deal fully finalised for Bissaka, maybe the club should orchestrate on selling players before we can buy again, because we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is obviously working on getting players in, but I think we're also working on getting players out. I think it's looking very imminent that Paul Pogba's probably going to be leaving the club. Probably Romelu Lukaku is going to be leaving the club, even though we have put huge transfer fees on the pair of them. Obviously Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku are our two most expensive signings and all that. But I think Solskjaer, there's been a change of scenery, because Solskjaer did say now he wants to sell Paul Pogba. The main factor is why he wants to sell Pogba, obviously to help us generate funds and obviously rebuild the squad and all that. So I think we do need to sanction Paul Pogba off, and I think we definitely need to sanction Romelu Lukaku. And I do believe we can generate at least around £200 million for their departures, without a shadow of a doubt. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. Like I said, he wants to fulfil them areas where Manchester United of course are lacking. Now obviously very very like that we've got Bissaka on the ball, but now he wants to build on that even more and bring at least another 3 players in to Manchester United. I think probably 3 or 4 players are expected to leave this summer, maybe 5 at the top. So I said it's looking very imminent. Diamond's going to be leaving the club, Rojo's going to be leaving the club, so I do believe we can generate around £30 million for their departures. So again, that's going to help us with our rebuilding process, and obviously it's going to help us with our transition. But I thought initially we'd been given around £200 million to spend and all that. We know Valencia is leaving the club, like I said. We know Ander Herrera, of course, is leaving the club on a free transfer. Like I said, not too sure about Sanchez at the moment. I think we're going to find it difficult, to get rid of Alexis Sanchez, based on his substantial wages. Obviously, he's on £500,000 a week at Manchester United. Initially £400,000 a week, but does potentially rise up to £500,000 a week. Based on the image rights and the bonuses and all that. And he's one of the problematic players at the club. He hasn't lived up to expectation levels. He's been so inconsistent for Manchester United as Alexis Sanchez. So I think we need to find a way to get rid of him. I think the only way we can basically get rid of him is probably put him out on a long season loan, and Manchester United come to some kind of agreement of paying him half of his wages off. But Sanchez has no future at the club. He's 30. He has lost that yard of pace. He has been here since January 2018, and he has become injury prone since he's come to Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, when he was at Arsenal, he did really, really well. He even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona, and he flourished under Guardiola's guidance, but he just hasn't replicated this form at Manchester United. So I think we definitely need to get rid of him. I think there's quite a lot of players that need to go, but like I said, we're not going to be able to address that problem in one window. I think Smalling and Jones need to go, but I don't think there will be. Obviously Smalling and Jones have been 2 long-serving players at the club. Like I said, Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years and all that. It was a bad mistake for Manchester United, of course, giving them 2 new long-term contracts. But like I said, I think we need at least 1 central defender. I think we definitely need someone that could complement Victor Lindelof in our back line. But yeah, as I said, very, very happy, with Bissaka, coming into now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities probably will be, to bring a central defender in, and of course bring a midfielder in. Like I said, that will be his priorities. So I do believe, hopefully, our 3rd signing of this summer is going to be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Now, I know it's not been fully made official yet for Bissaka, but when when it is made fully official, obviously, we'll step up our interest in Bruno Fernandes, because obviously, we did say we want to get the deal fully finalised for Bissaka, then we'll step up our interest in Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly Manchester United are set to hold further more talks with Bruno Fernandes' agent in London, it does say. Obviously, of discussing, Bruno Fernandes' potential switch to Old Trafford this summer. Obviously, a lot of reports reflected out last week, basically, saying that Manchester United had been in negotiation with his agent and all that, and it did say we was preparing to put a bid in for him of around £49 million. Also, it did say that Tottenham have now stepped up their interest, also Tottenham had been in negotiations with his agent last week and all that, because obviously I think it was last Wednesday that Bruno Fernandes' agent was in London having negotiations with Tottenham. It reported out yesterday, this was stemming from the Liverpool Echo, and it did basically say that Liverpool are the heavy favourites, to sign Bruno Fernandes and all that, because obviously, he has been on Liverpool's agenda. But I think, at least in the last couple of weeks, we've been considered, the favourites, to currently sign Bruno Fernandes. This was coming from the Portuguese press, Ball, saying that we are considered as as one of the favourites. But now reportedly we are not prepared to pay up to 60 or 70 million pounds for his services. I do believe Sporting Lisbon, do want at least around 60 million pounds, but reportedly Manchester United are reluctant, to pay that. But I think we should just pay 60 million pounds for Bruno Fernandes, because he's a really, really good midfielder. His distribution's good. He's got goals in him. He would have depth in our midfield. He would rejuvenate, the team very, very well and all that. And look at it last summer. We paid around 50 million pounds for Fred. And, he hasn't got a great pedigree, Fred. And I think don't get me wrong, he did really, really well at Shakhtar Donetsk, but he hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United, Fred. And I don't know if he is a long-term solution for Manchester United. Fred did demonstrate himself towards the back end of last season. He did put a good few performances in and shifts in and all that, but I don't know if it's a long-term solution. But you can't put him in Bruno Fernandes' calibre or level, because Bruno Fernandes is just a better footballer, than Fred, in my opinion. But I think we should just pay up to 60 or 70 million pounds in. But I think reportedly, we value, Bruno Fernandes around 49 million pounds. Ed Woodward actually, has instructed, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed Ed Woodward, to speed up the deal to sign Bruno Fernandes. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, he wants to get the deal wrapped up for Bruno Fernandes at the earliest opportunity. He did basically say, he wants, he demands Bruno Fernandes' arrival by July the 1st. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say last month, he wants the majority of our transfer business completed by the beginning of the next month, before the players, do return for pre-season and all that. So hopefully Bruno Fernandes is going to be our third signing. Like I said, he scored 31 goals for Sporting Lisbon last season. He's been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons. He's exceeded expectation levels. Hasn't really been, the fundamental, sorry, what I'm going to say then. Hasn't really played to the highest level as yet, I meant to say. Hasn't really played to the highest level as yet. But I do believe if he comes to the Premier League, he'll exceed expectation levels. He will succeed and all that. Because I do believe, he's definitely got all the attributes to do it. Being at Sporting, there's been a couple of seasons. Obviously, spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger, with the likes of Sampdoria and Udinese and all that. But yeah, very, very good player. Like I said, 24 years of age, still got a hell of a lot of development in him. Primarily an attacking midfielder, and I think he would be the good, adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, Tottenham have stepped their interest up in him, because obviously Tottenham do want to get a player or two on the board at least this summer, because obviously Tottenham haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. Obviously, like I said, the last player they signed was Lucas Moura back in January 2018. Obviously Tottenham's record signing is Davinson Sanchez, who they paid around £42 million for back in 2017 from Ajax and all that. So obviously Mauricio Pochettino is going to want back in this summer. Obviously Christian Eriksen is linked to a move away from Tottenham, and obviously Tottenham are going to want an adequate replacement for him. But and obviously they've targeted Bruno Fernandes. But like I said, Tottenham have got quite a few players on their agenda. They're in for Tango and Ndombele. I think the bookies favoured them to sign him. Obviously they've been in for Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis and all that. But yeah, and a couple of reports said the other week that Tottenham had ruled out a move for Bruno Fernandes. It also reported last week saying that Liverpool had put a bid in for him of around €45 million. Obviously that equates to around £40 million sterling. Obviously this is obviously not going to be enough for Sporting Lisbon to currently offload him. But Liverpool may be prepared to pay up to 60 or 70 million pounds. And this is why the Liverpool Echo said now that Liverpool are the heavy favourites to sign Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes has still got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. His initial release clause is around £86 million, and obviously but it has been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for him. Obviously at one point it looked like Manchester City were going to get a deal concluded for Bruno Fernandes. It looks very, very likely it was going to happen, but obviously confirmed the other week City have withdrawn their interest and they've pulled out of the race. Now obviously since City have pulled out, obviously Liverpool have entered the race, Tottenham have entered the race. So Bruno Fernandes has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. He also did say Bruno Fernandes that he's attracted to the history and mystique of Manchester United. But like I said, I do believe we need at least 2 new additions in that midfield. We need a replacement for Fernando Herrera. I think we definitely need a replacement for Paul Pogba. So that is very, very imperative, like I said. But I do believe our expectations going on into this season probably will be to finish in the top 4, maybe in the Carabao Cup, maybe win the Europa League. I can't see his expectations going on into this season. Our expectations probably won't be to win the league or challenge for the league, because I think we're at least a couple of years off, from challenging for the league or winning the league. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, but at the moment City has strides ahead of us. Obviously, Liverpool and that has strides ahead of us. So it's very imperative that we catch up with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. Solskjaer said towards the back end of last season, though, he still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next next season. But Champions League football is always very essential, you know, when you do want to get your number one targets. But quite a few people have said, you know, this summer, you know, we should be sensible with our recruitment. Like I said, I think we are moving away for the policy, you know, of signing them well-established players. But like I said, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad, and I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And you know, we'll see what happens, you know, going on into this season. I hope it really works out for him. You know, I know he hasn't really got the experience of a manager, and you know that's what concerns me and all. Like, you know, he was a great player for Manchester United, you know, for 11 years under Alex Ferguson and all that. But I hope we don't sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, because obviously, you know, we haven't got the structures to keep sacking managers. We've already sacked 3 managers, you know, since Alex Ferguson retired. And, you know, the question is, has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the stature, you know, to get us in that commanding position, you know, where we do really want to be? But like I said, regardless of who our manager is, you know, no one is going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. You know, we're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, you know, for 20 odd years and success, you know, that we did have. But obviously, you know, our objective is just getting back, you know, to being a competitive elite level football club, you know, competing, winning trophies and all that. But like I said, we've been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, you know, since Alex Ferguson retired. Like I said, we've had different managers with different philosophies and all that. But the main factor reason why we've been underachieving in the last 5 or 6 years, because obviously, you know, we've been mismanaged and all that. But a hell of a lot of money has been spent into the club over the years. You know, players have come in, and of course players have gone. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of currently, you know, rebuilding and all that. I think there's about 40 odd days left of the transfer window, if I'm right, you know, until it currently shuts. But yeah, like I said, I'm very, very hopeful, you know, that Bruno Fernandes is going to be our 3rd signing this summer. Like I said with Paul Pogba, I think it's, like as I do keep saying, I think it's looking very imminent. You know, he's going to be leaving Manchester United. Like I said, he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid and Juventus, because obviously, you know, it's them two that are battling out for his services. Obviously, Paul Pogba confirmed a couple of weeks ago. You know, he told Tokyo reporters that he's seeking for a new challenge. Obviously, you know, he publicly admitted this, and obviously, you know, he said, you know, that he wants to leave Manchester United for the first time. But like I said, he announced this publicly, and he even did say he was willing to go on strike, you know, to force a move away from Manchester United to Real Madrid, because we do potentially know Real Madrid has been his first choice preference, you know, for quite some time now. You know, obviously his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. But obviously, you know, we have put a huge transfer fee on Paul Pogba. We indicated that initially he wasn't for sale, but he did say, you know, we would accept a bid in the region of around £150 million. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid are reluctant, you know, to currently pay £150 million to him. Obviously, Real Madrid so far have got 5 players on the board this summer, and I think they've spent nearly £300 million this summer of Real Madrid. Obviously, they got Eden Hazard for £150 million, so obviously, you know, there's basically, you know, half of it there. But I think they spent, you know, nearly £300 million. But I still believe Paul Pogba is one of Zinedine Zidane's main priority targets and all that. Because obviously, you know, Zinedine Zidane, you know, did instruct his Real Madrid board, you know, to prioritise a transfer for Paul Pogba. You know, Paul Pogba did say at some point in his career, you know, he does want to play for Real Madrid and all that. And he did say a couple of weeks ago Real Madrid was willing to offer his Gareth Bale in a transfer offer of Paul Pogba, because Real Madrid are not keen on the straight cash payment. I think also Christian Eriksen is on Real Madrid's agenda, and probably Christian Eriksen would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid than Paul Pogba and all that. But now there has been a change of scenery, because now reportedly Paul Pogba has made a decision on his future, and now reportedly said he is interested in making a return back to Turin with Juventus. Now, obviously, you know, the Juventus director, you know, recently came out and basically, you know, he was explaining how much, you know, Juventus love Paul Pogba, because obviously, you know, Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin. Obviously, you know, didn't really replicate, you know, he hasn't replicated this, you know, since he did make the return back to Manchester United. But I think for Juventus to get a deal over the line for him, they probably would have to offload, they would have to offload at least 1 or 2 of their essential players to fund the move for Paul Pogba. I don't think Juventus, you know, would be able to afford Paul Pogba outright. Obviously, got confirmed the other week the Juventus director had travelled to London to hold negotiations with Manchester United over the possibility of re-signing Paul Pogba. Juventus have been in negotiations with his agent Raiola. Come out a couple of weeks ago, you know, basically saying, you know, Juventus are interested in re-signing him. Obviously, you know, Juventus are having a good window. You know, they're doing really good business this summer with Juventus. Obviously, they've already got Aaron Ramsey on the board on a free transfer. Obviously, left Arsenal after serving 11 years with them. Obviously, looking like they're going to get Adrian Rabiot from PSG. Obviously, it's looking likely they're going to get Matty De Ligt from Ajax and all that. Obviously, they got Ronaldo last summer, so they are doing a good business this summer, Juventus. But I think probably more than likely they would have to offload 1 or 2 of their players, you know, to fund the move for Paul Pogba and all that. So it is Real Madrid and Juventus that are battling out for his services. Obviously, reports were coming out last week. They were saying that we was willing to offer Paul Pogba a long-term contract worth £500,000 a week. Obviously, if he was to sign his new long-term contract, obviously, which I don't think he will, but if he was gonna, he'd obviously he'd get a huge pay rise of around £200,000 because Paul Pogba in his current deal is on £290,000 a week. I think he's got 2 years left on his current deal, with an option of a further year and all that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, reportedly wants to offload him, to help raise funds and rebuild the squad and all that. And he's the spinner, is Paul Pogba. But yeah, it came out quite a few weeks ago saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was even willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. But Paul Pogba's agent Raiola, at least in the last couple of months or maybe even longer than that now, has been working on trying to get him a new club. But yeah, I do believe he's going to believe in the club. He may actually make him a return to Juventus. But Paul Pogba was subject to a lot of transfer speculation last year based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Paul Pogba, of course, got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho left the club. Because obviously they had a bad relationship and all that. Obviously last year he was linked with Juventus. I think there was also talks about him going to Barcelona back in January and all that. But yeah, he got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club. But let's be honest, Paul Pogba hasn't really been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been. He did well. We saw glimpses of his best form in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. That's when we mainly saw the best of Pogba, and we mainly saw the best of Pogba when Ander Herrera was playing. So that just proves how much of an impact Herrera made in that midfield, because he freed up the likes of Pogba, and Pogba was in scintillating form. He was scoring goals, he was providing, and he's still arguably one of the best midfielders in the world. Is Paul Pogba. He's still in his prime. He's 26. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But maybe the couple of main factor reasons why he wants to leave Manchester United, because probably wants to rejuvenate his career. Obviously wants to be playing amongst better players. He isn't getting this at Manchester United, and probably wants to be in Champions League football and that, and winning, and challenging and winning stuff. And he's not experiencing this at the club. So maybe they're the couple of main factor reasons why he wants to leave. Probably he's overall frustrated, with lack of competitiveness and all that. So I do believe he will be currently going. But like I said, it will help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. Talking about Romelu Lukaku, now he's been heavily linked to move to Inter Milan. I think we've definitely got to get rid of Romelu Lukaku, because obviously now he's surplus to requirements of Manchester United. Obviously he's no longer first choice. Obviously he was first choice under Jose Mourinho, but since obviously Mourinho left and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been recommended in, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has preferred the likes of Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and obviously Romelu Lukaku is reluctant to play a backup role to Marcus Rashford and all that. But it got confirmed yesterday that Romelu Lukaku's agent, it did confirm Romelu Lukaku's agent was in Milan. He was holding talks with Inter Milan over working on trying to get Lukaku's move to Inter Milan complete and all that. So he was in Milan yesterday with his agent, and according to Lukaku's agent, I can't remember his name, he said that Lukaku wants to leave Manchester United because obviously he's probably seeking for a new challenge, wants to rejuvenate his career and all that. And he also did say He also did say that Inter Milan, of course, are still, trying to sign Romelu Lukaku. But I think the actual fee is problematic for Inter Milan, because obviously Inter Milan are struggling to generate enough funds, to fund that £75 million valuation. Because we've said we want around £75 million. Obviously, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago. We got him for £75 million. Obviously, there were 15 million add-ons included, which did potentially rise to 90 million. And Lukaku, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract, and I think he's on about £250,000 a week. So the fee is problematic for Inter Milan at the moment. I think Lukaku has agreed everything with Inter Milan except the fee. I think he's agreed the personal terms. I think he's agreed a deal with around £180,000 a week and all that. I think he's agreed allegedly around a 5-year deal, so he will be under contract with Inter Milan until 2024. But I think Inter Milan have been negotiating, of coming to an agreement on a fee, with Manchester United. But we said, want £75 million. But obviously Lukaku, recently described Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. So obviously Lukaku is eager, to play under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably Lukaku believes he will flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target. Obviously, reflecting back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte wanted Romelu Lukaku. But obviously, he ended up. But this is when he was Chelsea manager. But obviously, Lukaku, ended up making the move to Manchester United. Obviously, he has been here a couple of years as Lukaku. He was exceptional in his first season, but didn't really replicate that in his second season and all that. Sustained a couple of injuries. Obviously, wasn't really a first choice anywhere. And I think he scored about 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions for Manchester United in his 2-year period at the club and all that. But I've got strong reservations about him, and like I said, I think even though I've got strong reservations about him, I think his pedigree is good in the Premier League. His ratios are very, very good. So I think we definitely need to get rid of him. But obviously, they've got to come to an agreement on the fee. Obviously, Inter Milan have offered us Mario Icardi in exchange for Romelu Lukaku. Now, there's been a change of scenery about this, because at one point I don't think we was interested in bringing Mario Icardi in, but now I was reading the sports review yesterday, or was it the day before if I can remember rightly, and it did basically say now we could consider signing Mario Icardi as part of a deal which would see Romelu Lukaku make the move to Inter Milan. Don't get me wrong, I've got reservations about Mario Icardi, but I think Mario Icardi is a really, really good player, and I think he's the type of player that Manchester United do need, because I think he's really, really good. He scores goals and all that. He leads the lines. But his stats are very, very impressive. He's been at Inter Milan 6 years. He's scored 111 goals in 188 games for Inter Milan as Mario Icardi. But he's done really, really well in his 6-year period with Inter Milan. Obviously, he enjoyed a difficult time last season, because obviously, Inter Milan have increasingly become frustrated with him now. Obviously, Inter Milan want to offload him. I think also lost the captaincy, back in February. But Mario Icardi, his goal scoring pedigree is fantastic. I think he's Inter Milan's 9th highest top goal scorer of all time and all that. So there has been talks, that I think this came out from Damasio, who's an Italian journalist, and he said this a while back, saying Manchester United could swap Lukaku for Mario Icardi this summer. But he's more or less the same age as Lukaku. Icardi's 26. He has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. He hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. I think it would be the next step for Mario Icardi. I think he probably would succeed in the Premier League. I think the reservations I've got about him, some of his touches concern me, some of his defensive contributions concern me, but he's got that endless potential. He's an efficient finisher. He can score goals, and that's something Manchester United do currently need. So I would like to see Mario Icardi come to Manchester United. Whether he wants to come to Manchester United, I do not know. Whether he wants to stay in Inter Milan, or whether he wants to go to Juventus. We have been offered Icardi as part of the deal for Lukaku. Obviously, there was talks that Inter Milan had offered Ivan Perisic the other week. Ivan Perisic the other week as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku, and also Inter Milan offered cash, but obviously Manchester United have turned this down, because obviously we do know that Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. Was a long-term target under Mourinho, but he's no longer now a Manchester United target. So hopefully somewhere along the line Inter Milan can come to an agreement to get Romelu Lukaku. But who should replace Romelu Lukaku? I think Icardi would be a good replacement for him. Obviously there's been talks going on today in the media about Ben Yedder from Sevilla. He looks to be a very, very good player. I think he's available for a reasonable figure. I think his initial release clause is around £35 million or something like that. I did say Manchester United are willing to trigger his release clause and all that. Obviously, we are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. So Ben Yedder, I think, has been at Sevilla about 3 years. I think last season he scored about 30 goals and provided 11 assists in 54 games. So so to me, he's probably got a good goal scoring pedigree as Ben Yedder. He is highly experienced. I think he's 28 years of age. He's under contract with Sevilla until 2021 and all that. I think Sevilla got him from Toulouse back in 2016 for the fee of around £9 million. Obviously made his full international debut for France last year and all that. So do you think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United? So now it does basically say we're in for him. If Lukaku does remain at the football club, I don't think we're interested in bringing Ben Yedder in. I think we're only going in for him, of course, if Romelu Lukaku does currently leave. But don't really know much about him. But I've read some of his stats and that up. I think obviously Sevilla knocked us out of the Champions League last year, and I think he came off the bench in that game and scored twice. Did Ben Yedder. I think his actual first name is Wissam, and I think his middle's Ben, and then his surname is Yedder. So he partly says that Manchester United have been in for him. So yeah, there's lots to address in the squad, but I think we definitely need to get a replacement for Pogba. I think Bruno Fernandes, would be the adequate replacement for him. Obviously, there's been quite a few midfielders on our agenda. Like I said, there's been talks about Yuri Tielemans from Leicester. He basically said the other week, that we was in for Yuri Tielemans. He said we'd reignited our interest. He said we'd been in talks with Yuri Tielemans' agent over a possible deal. Obviously he's had 5 or 6 months of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously he had been on loan with Leicester since January, but obviously now Yuri Tielemans has returned to Monaco. But I think, Youri Tielemans confirmed he will not be playing his trade with Monaco next season and all that. But I think, Leicester have been in talks of getting Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal, because obviously, he's very impressive throughout his loan spell with Leicester and all that. And I think Leicester are orchestrating on, partnering, Youri Tielemans alongside James Maddison in their midfield, because obviously probably Leicester believe, they'll complement each other really, really well in their midfield and all that. But Youri Tielemans, I think, is a box-to-box midfielder. I think he's primarily an attacking midfielder and all that, but very, very good player. Only 22 years of age. Also, Tottenham have been in for him. Obviously, Manchester City have been in there for him. I think Monaco rate him at around 40 million. He's under contract with Monaco till 2022. So I think Youri Tielemans would be a fantastic replacement for Paul Pogba. James Maddison from Leicester's been spoken about. I think he got revealed that he is a boyhood Manchester United fan. Is James Maddison. Obviously, James Maddison's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Last season was his debut season for Leicester. Was involved in 14 goals. Created more chances than any other player in the Premier League. So his statistics are very, very impressive. Again, only 22 years of age is James Maddison. Primarily attacking midfielder, I think, and plus he's British. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United this summer. But Leicester did get him last summer from Norwich for around £20 million. I think he signed a 5-year deal, but obviously now he's got 4 years left on his contract term and all that. He did have a couple of seasons in the Championship with Norwich. He initially began his career at Coventry as a youngster, and I think quite a few teams have been tracking him since he was a teenager at Coventry. I think he also had the loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen, did James Maddison. But I think it allegedly said, was it earlier on this week or was it last week, that reportedly James Maddison wants to meet up with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he said he's allegedly interested in a move to Manchester United. It did initially say if Leicester are willing to let him go this summer, they do want around £68 million, because he said we emerged James Maddison as a priority target about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I think we would be happy to pay up to £60 million for his services. Obviously, it's Leicester do get £60 million. Obviously, Leicester are going to gain a £40 million profit, but I like James Maddison a lot. I really, really do. So he'd be a good replacement for Paul Pogba, because he can create chances, he can score goals, he can provide. Still got a hell of a lot of development in him, and I'd like him to come in. Sean Longstaff from Newcastle, I think it should be looking likely now. He's going to be coming in, and obviously I think come out about these stories come out the other week saying that Manchester United we're close to agreeing around the £25 million deal for Sean Longstaff. I think he's primarily a box-to-box midfielder. Obviously last season was his first season in the senior squad with Newcastle. He is only 21 years of age. Sean Longstaff obviously didn't play the last couple of months of last season. Obviously due to that he sustained a knee ligament injury back in March, and he ruled him out for the remainder of last season. And I think he still did say, he's recovering from that knee ligament injury. He's Sean Longstaff, but yeah, he's obviously on Manchester United's agenda and all that. So yeah, so many midfielders, that we have been currently in for, like I said. But I think we need a central defender, like I do keep saying. I think we need someone that can partner alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, and that's very, very essential. Because like I said, Smalling and Jones are not good enough. Obviously with Eric Bay, he's initially lost his place in the team now, and I think Eric Bay's Manchester United career has been badly affected. The amount of injuries he's sustained. Obviously, his fallout under managers and all that, and obviously Eric Bay has been here 3 years and that. But I think we need at least one central defender, like I said. Obviously, Harry Maguire's been one of our main priority targets. With Harry Maguire now, though, I don't see him coming to Manchester United, because reports have been coming out of the media this week saying that, well, he did initially say this was coming from TalkSport. I read it up. It said Manchester City are set to sign Harry Maguire sometime this week. It did say for a world record fee of £80 million. Obviously, if City got him for £80 million, this would make him the most expensive, defender in world football, ahead of Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk. Obviously, Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool paid £75 million of Virgil van Dijk and all that. Also, it did say, City are willing to pay him around £280,000 a week and all that. But I think, City I think negotiations between City and Leicester and all that have hit a stumbling block, because obviously Leicester said we want £80 million, but actually City are reluctant to pay up to £80 million for his services. I think City at the tops are willing to pay around £65 million for his services and all that. Harry Maguire's confirmed his own preference. He does want to join Manchester City. Obviously to rejuvenate his career and all that. Obviously to take his footballing career to the next level, and probably Harry Maguire believes he will flourish under Pep Guardiola's guidance and all that. So yeah, he does want to make the move to Manchester City. If he does go to Manchester City, obviously we'll be playing alongside John Stones and Laporte and all that. I think City probably will consider offloading Otamendi if they do get a deal over the line for Harry Maguire. Obviously City are seeing Harry Maguire as their number one target, to replace Vincent Kompany. But we do know it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. Obviously, we confirmed. Well, he said, should I say, the other week that we was confident we could beat Manchester City to the signing of him. We was confident we could outbid Manchester City to the signing of Harry Maguire, because obviously, City are reluctant to pay up to £80 million, and he actually did say, we was willing to pay £80 million for Harry Maguire, because Ed Woodward, was keen on recommending him in and all that. But Harry Maguire's got no interest of coming to Manchester United. Obviously, we was, Harry Maguire, he was one of the players that we wanted last summer under Jose Mourinho, but we didn't get as number one targets last summer because the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. But Harry Maguire has been relentlessly linked to a move to Old Trafford since last summer, because like I said, the process started under Jose Mourinho. We didn't get him last summer because I think Leicester said, we want around £70 million, but Manchester United, of course, were reluctant, where to pay that. But Harry Maguire is 26 years of age. His defensive abilities are really, really good. He does show that ability, to play off the back, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. He has been at Leicester a couple of seasons. I think he's played about 76 games in all competitions. 69 of them have come in the Premier League. Obviously, Leicester got him from Hull City, back in 2017, for around £17 million. Obviously, he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he is under contract with Leicester until 2023. Basically, Harry Maguire's not worth £80 or £90 million anywhere. He's not even worth that, Harry Maguire, because he's not a Virgil van Dijk from Liverpool. He's not a Koulibaly from Napoli. He's not a Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. He's nowhere near their calibre or level, but he is still a very, very good central defender. But Leicester don't want to sell him, and this is the main factor reason why they've priced him out of the transfer market. This is why they are demanding an extortionate amount, because Leicester do not want to sell him, because they know how much of an imperative player he is. So I think Manchester City are probably set to sign him. City have got to try and convince, basically, Leicester to lower their price tag, lower their asking price to around £60 or £65 million, and I think City will come to an agreement on getting him, but City will not pay up to £80 million for him. But like I said, I think if he came to Manchester United, he would blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline, really, really well. Obviously, another central defender that's been on our agenda has obviously been Issa Diop from West Ham. There was a lot of talks about him, going on a week or two back, saying we emerged him as a priority target and all that. Obviously, we seeing Issa Diop as a cheaper solution than Harry Maguire and Koulibaly from Napoli and all that. He's a cheaper alternative. But West Ham have basically said they want at least around £60 million. I don't think any West Ham central defender is worth £60 million and all that, but he did say Manchester United are in for him. I think for Issa Diop's preference, he did say he's keen on making the move to Manchester United. He's only 22 years of age. He's had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously last season was his debut season with West Ham. Obviously West Ham got him last summer from Toulouse for around 22 million. I think he did sign a 5-year deal. Obviously he's only got 4 years left now on his current on his deal. As you know, Issa Diop is 22. He's 6'4", so he's he's very, very tall. So I do presume he's very, very good in the air. I think he's actually a good athlete. Is Issa Diop. But it got confirmed the other week that we'd had a £40 million bid turned down because it said we offered £40 million. We offered a player as well as the £40 million. We'd offered Phil Jones as part of the deal, for Issa Diop, but he put, West Ham had turned this down. It did say if West Ham are willing to do any business with Issa Diop, if we're obviously not willing to pay £60 million, up front and all that for him without any, players involved and all that, it did say, they are demanding Anthony Martial in exchange for Issa Diop, but obviously, we're not going to be willing, to offload Anthony Martial. So, yeah, he has been one of our, priority targets as Issa Diop. So I think he's a good central defender of what I've currently seen of him and all that, but I just don't think he's worth £60 million. But yeah, so there's been so many central defenders on our current agenda. Like I said, Toby Alderweireld, he's a much cheaper solution than the likes of, Issy Diop and Harry Maguire and Koulibaly and Raphael Varane and all that. But I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to actually recommend, Toby Alderweireld, to come in. I know Alderweireld is available for £25 million this summer. Obviously, that's his release clause, and he's proven him in the Premier League. He's been at Tottenham about 4 years and that now. But I don't think we're intending on bringing him in. So there has been so many central defenders on our current agenda. But yeah, we need to, like I said, we need to see vast improvements, going on into this season. That's very, very essential, like I currently said. We do know that David De Gea is going to be staying at the club, as you will know. We know that Juan Mata is going to be staying at the club. Obviously, that's guaranteed. David De Gea is going to be signing a new long-term contract now, because obviously, the club are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. We're back in talks with David De Gea, and obviously, we've given Juan Mata a new 2-year contract with an option to extend it by a further year. So like I said, we do need a massive overhaul this summer. But the good news is, anyway, Bissaka, it's not been fully made official as yet, but he is going to be our second signing this summer. He's set to have his medical, I think, today, or if it isn't today, it will be tomorrow. We've got him in a deal worth around £50 million. We will pay £45 million up front with £5 million add-ons included and all that. And I think we are willing to offer, I think we've offered him a long-term contract, and I think we've offered him a 5-year contract worth around £80,000 a week. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.